Good afternoon. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for being on and being here today. We have worked very long and hard to have our amazing guest today. Many of you have probably heard of James Shaw. James, I don't know if you know this, but I call you the Shift King. So
Okay.
that's what went out in my email. He said, okay.
That's funny.
And I know at so many different agents that I'm talking with across the country right now, specifically in our areas and market centers, are really starting to feel the shift. So I was very anxious and very excited to have James on today, and James is just gonna roll with it. And if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat and we will field those. If you're in a place where you can have your video on, it always is so much better for our speakers so that they can see you. And that's it. We got a big crowd today. So thank you, James. Thanks so much for coming on and being here.
Thanks for the invite, Dana. I appreciate you very much, and I'm happy to spend, the next little while with your group, which is going to be awesome. Can y'all do me a favor and remove the spotlight though from me, and I would tell everybody put it in speaker view,
Yes.
but it's hard for me to see what's going on when it's in spotlight. So that's a huge help if y'all don't mind. Thank you so much. Sorry, I don't mean to be a Zoom diva.
No,
I've got my setup the way I like it. So what I tell all of you watching, put it in speaker view so that whoever's talking, you can see the full screen of, and I'm going to change cameras and be in and out of PowerPoints and stuff like that. So anyway, Dana, you want me to get started? Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, we're ready for you.
All right, let's do it. So thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it very, very much. And I think Dana's great. So if you're part of her organization, you're in the right spot, no doubt about that. And I know you're always doing things to help your agents in your community be better. And I'm honored that you'd asked me to be a part of it. My name's James. I'm from Indianapolis originally. I live in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, home of the first place Tampa Bay Rays, but we can talk about that another time. I'm excited about spending some time with you. I've been with Keller Williams 18 years and sat in multiple roles. I'm currently a KW Master Faculty member, and then I moderate a Facebook group for a living. So put in the chat, is anybody a member of Pivot Shift Ahead in there? Or anybody in this call a member of Pivot Shift Ahead? Put it in the chat, because that's my little Facebook group that I started 3 years ago now. Dana, it has more people. There are more real estate agents who are a part of Pivot Shift Ahead than work for all of RE/MAX. So I just like to point that out.
Amazing.
Yeah, I like to point it out. So if you are a member of our Facebook group, awesome, thank you. If you're not a member, what's your problem? You should become a member. There's 112,000 people who are a member of the group. I'll put the link in the chat in a little bit. We in there do a daily mastermind call, and I'm sure many of you are on that call. We meet weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Eastern for 20 minutes. And we spend a lot of that time going through this book right here to help make sure you're winning. So I'll put the link for that in the chat here in a little bit too, so that you can find the Facebook group and the mastermind call. We do the mastermind call on Zoom, or if you want, you can watch the live stream in the Facebook group. And if you ever miss a call, it's recorded in the Facebook group, so you can watch it all there. Now, Dana, this is Kentucky agents, Ohio agents, Indiana agents mostly, is that right?
Yes, and we probably have some guests jumping on.
And we probably have some guests as well.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I like it. I want to know, and just raise your hand, raise your digital hand, and we'll call on you. But I want to know, what's the market like right now where you are. So you tell me what your name is and what area you're in. And I want to hear, is it hot? Is it cold? Or are you selling for prices going up, prices leveling off, units up, units off, whatever it is? I want to hear from you. And I'm going to put the Zoom link in the chat for the call while you're doing that. So this is where, okay, if you have awkward silence on your bingo card, circle it now. Perfect. Got that done. Stephanie, go ahead. Where are you?
I'm in Lexington, Kentucky, and I'm in one of Dana's branch offices that I opened with her. And we have, it's still very hot, under 300, multiple offers. And over 3 to 4 is a little softer, and then over 4, which over 5 is luxury here, just to give you an idea. And so it's just a little slower, longer days on market. We are seeing a little bit of prices leveling off, certainly not pricing it, 11-12% over what we were last month. So that's what's happening here.
So you say it's hot. When you say it's hot, you're referring to getting multiple offers in certain price points. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Under 300, we're getting multiple offers.
But you're telling me prices are leveling, Do you know about sales in Lexington? Are sales lagging behind last year?
A little bit, yes. Our
Yeah.
inventory is a little higher. We have in Fayette County, just to give you an example,
Mhm.
population of about 350. We have 250 listings, and this time last year we had 112.
Okay, so listings are going up, but I get my guess is you probably still have less than 3 months worth of inventory.
Absolutely, yes.
But units are also declining. So you're seeing this the listings, active listings go up, units go down, and prices leveling off. This is why I call it the weirdest shift I've ever seen. Now, I mean, some of you have been in business longer than me. I've been 18 years, but I was a team leader for 8.5 years during the Great Recession. I mean, I saw markets fall off the table. And normally when this happens, we see prices fall off drastically and inventory shoot up drastically. We're not seeing that. We're still seeing inventory go up and prices level and units slow down, but it's still, like you just said, you're getting multiple offers in $300,000 price ranges, which is what's happening in a lot of places. Mike, you had your hand up. You're in what, Cincinnati?
Yeah, I'm Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I was going to say very similar to what Stephanie was saying. We are still seeing very aggressive amount of buyers out there and just very low inventory. So the buyers that want to buy are willing and able to buy. And I will say the one thing is, I think 2 years ago or within the last couple of years, you could be a little stingy on pricing and overprice some things and get away with it.
Yeah.
I think the buyers are a little bit either more aware, or the buyers agents are letting them know, hey, if we miss out on this, it's fine, but it's probably going to sit on the market. And once it does, then we're watching those. We have just today alone, I think 200 price reductions, 175 price reductions within the last 7 days. And that's
in Cincinnati. How many active listings are there right now, Mike?
Let me look and see if I can see that. I don't have that right in front of me.
No worries. You can put it in the chat later. But the bottom line is, we went through 2 years where when you sat down on a listing appointment and you went to price, the entire pricing conversation was sure. That was it. That was the entire conversation. You sat in front of a seller and the seller said, do you think I can get such and such? You're like, sure, let's try it. That was the entire CMA. That was everything. And now it's getting funky. All right, so this is good. This is what I thought. I want to show you a couple of slides, not because we all need to look at a PowerPoint on a Zoom and have me like in the upper right-hand corner where you can't see anything, but I think that you need this quick perspective. I don't need all this. Okay, I want you to think about, and you can unmute and give me your answer, but I've given you 2 of the answers on the screen. That what are some signals that a shift in the real estate market might be coming? What are some signals? Now, I've given you the first 2 to throw out on the screen. So what's one of them?
Mortgage rates.
Mortgage rates. Thank you, genius people. Just unmute, hit the space bar and say what's on the screen. Interest rates. What has happened? Put it in the chat or say it out loud. What has happened to interest rates in the last year? Put it in the chat, say it out loud. Which way have they gone? This is not hard. They've gone up. This is straight out of the vision speech. If you went to family reunion, where was it this year? Anaheim? I get them all confused. I've been to 19 of them, so I get them confused. But when this is straight from the vision speech that Gary, does for us, and Jay and everybody does every year. Interest rates, what at family reunion were what, around 6%? I mean, they spent part of the time at higher levels than that. But here's the thing, Gary's tells us, and I'd write this down. I think one thing we have to remember about our job is that our job, especially in a market like this, is to provide perspective to potential buyers and sellers in our database. Our job is to do what? Provide perspective. I jot that down. My job is to provide perspective. In order for you to provide perspective, you must have the right perspective. And here's the perspective. Interest rates have absolutely gone up, but they aren't crazy high when you look at it at a historical level. In fact, I taught a full day shift workshop. Dana, we should do this. We need to tell them we need to do this in Ohio Valley region.
Yes.
There's a great town called Indianapolis that we can host this thing in. It would be great. I could see my dad, but anyway.
We might rather have you. Well, okay, yeah, your dad. Okay.
Whatever you want,
okay.
But listen.
Okay, we'll work on it.
Here's the thing about rates. Rates are not going up. This is the verbiage somebody said in my full day workshop the other day. They said, James, rates aren't going up. They're just going back to normal. They're just going back to normal. And if you look, that's historically accurate. They're back to normal. Now, I see in the chat, they're going to go higher. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to go higher, lower, sideways, or backwards, or upwards, or frontwards. I do know this. I interviewed the chief economist of NAR, Lawrence Yun, and he told me 3%'s over forever. He did say that. He thinks 5.7-ish, something like that in the summertime is probably pretty good. So either way, this is not why people buy and sell real estate. Because if you go back and look at 1979 and 1980 and 1981, yes or no, did people buy houses back then? Put it in the chat. Yes or no, did people buy houses in the late 70s and early 80s? The answer, of course, is what? Yes. Do your fingers work? Y'all are not typing in the chat. When I tell you type in the chat, you got to type in the chat.
Y'all
answer
better
is yes.
participate. It took
That's
me a
right.
long
That's right.
time
That's
to
right.
get
Now,
James
here's the
to
thing, though,
guess.
Dana. I asked my mom is 70. She'll be 70 in June. And she always loves it when I announce her age. But I asked my mom, I said, Mom, what was the interest rate in the first house you bought? It was like 18%. It was 18%. But then she says, but, you know, the house was $25,000. This is why I hear all the time when they talk about interest rate was 18%, but the house is $25,000. And I said, yes, but you were in nursing school and making $2 an hour. Like, it's all relative. So our job is to provide perspective. And when I talked to Lawrence Young, the chief economist of NAR, he said, this chart right here is the only reason why home sales declined last year. If it weren't for interest rates going up, home sales would have absolutely declined. Here's some other slides about that. Okay, now, next, we said interest rates. What's another reason? It's on the screen. What's another reason why home sales might show us that they're in a shift besides mortgage rates?
Home prices.
Prices, very good. I'm so proud of you, Daniel. You can read the screen. I'm so proud of you. Well, what has happened to home prices in the last handful of years? I mean, they have what? Done what? It's gone up.
Skyrocket.
I imagine even in Lexington and Cincinnati and Dana, wherever your people are from, that you've seen double-digit gains in prices over the last couple of years, because that's what we've seen nationwide. Again, this is from the vision speech. The teal line is a 4% annual trend. That's kind of the target. That's kind of the target, is this 4% annual trend. Now here's what we saw is home prices go up, 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 up. But NAR this year is saying a leveling off or maybe even a decline. If you saw the news last week, they actually said a month-over-month decline of 12% or a year-over-year decline of 12% in home prices. I'm not super interested in that because that's a national perspective. That has nothing to do with what's going on in Cincinnati or Lexington. So, but it does tell you the trend. Here's where we are, is we're priced a tad above the trend and yet pretty close. But here's the thing we have to think about. If interest rates go up and the price of homes go up, would the number of people who are able to buy go down? What's the answer? Yes. The answer, of course, is yes to that. Here's a couple other things. I don't care about that one. What's something else besides mortgage rates and home prices? What's something else that would have an impact? It's a big hot topic. Inflation, Mario. Thank you. Inflation.
Yeah.
Mario got it in there. Inflation's been crazy. Now, you don't hear this on the news. You only hear it when we have record-breaking inflation. The news doesn't come back on and tell you that inflation is settling down. Right now, the annual inflation is about 5%. It's still double what the government would like for it to be. They'd really like to be in that 2.5% to 2% range annual inflation. But it's better than the 9% we had 6 months ago. Let me just tell you a quick story. I did, who went to family reunion? Put it in the chat if you went to family reunion, because family reunion was great. I know, Dana, you went, you had to go. But the thing about family reunion is I had a chance to teach a full day shift workshop for KW Worldwide. So I went in early and met with them before family reunion started. There were more people there from like Indonesia than most market centers brought, which was just fascinating for me to think about the process they had to go through there. But that room had 58 countries represented in it. And I asked them, what's the number one issue that you're facing in your real estate market right now? 58 countries, 1,800 agents. And the answer was inflation. Inflation has been a global issue and one that we're seeing here. And for most of us, I think we have to think about it like this. Inflation for most of us on this call is annoying. It's you went to put gas in your car, and instead of it costing you $75, it costs you $110. That's annoying for most of you on the call. Your weekly grocery bill goes from $150 to $200. That's annoying for most of you on the call. But for other people, it's life-changing. So let's talk about the highest spending demographic in this country. Does anybody know who the highest spending demographic is in the country, which would include purchasing a home? Anybody know? Not millennials. Not millennials. Pregnant people. Growing pregnant families spend more money than any other segment in the country. And it makes sense, doesn't it? Like we heard the news about Bye Bye Baby. They're going to close all the Bye Bye Babies and the Bed Bath and Body Works and all that stuff. And we heard about that. And Terry and I reminisced about the 642 trips we made to Bye Bye Baby, 11 and a half years ago when we found out she was pregnant. Did anybody test drive their strollers like we did? I mean, we took like 7 trips to pick out a stroller. Went with the Upper Baby Vista, if you're curious, but it was a bunch of trips. And you can buy a $20 stroller or a $2,000 stroller, right? And all these different options. And so we bought strollers. We bought, a crib. We bought furniture. All this stuff. And by the way, we needed an extra bedroom. Are you with me? Now, I want you to think about this for a minute. If you're a growing family, maybe you're going to buy your first home. You're having a baby. That's expensive. Your grocery bill is going up. The cost to borrow the money to buy the house is going up, and the cost to buy the house is going up. Might that cause you to sit on the sidelines? Yes or no? For some people, inflation is absolutely life-changing, and that's why they're working so hard to get it under control. So great job for whoever said inflation. You're a genius person. Now, what's another thing? This is the inflation slide. There might be another one that I don't really care to show you. Okay. What's another thing that might tell us a shift is coming?
Unemployment.
Good job. You saw me advance the slide by mistake, but you got it on your own. Unemployment. Stephanie, here's where it gets weird because we're basically at full employment in this country. In fact, the current unemployment rate is lower than the 3.6% you see right here. Now, this is the point in the class where someone says, well, we're not counting everybody in this and that and blah, blah, blah. Look, I have no idea. And then this is where you get to the part where nobody wants to work. That's not true either. That's a bunch of talking points. By the way, do you know which group of people doesn't want to work right now? Which group of people in the pandemic said, I don't want to work anymore? Oh, it's not Gen Z, Mario, not Gen Z.
Millennials.
Nope, that's not what the data says. It's definitely not millennials. Nate is right. Boomers. Boomers, as Stacy put in there, they retired early and said, I don't want to go back. That's the largest segment of people that didn't go back to work. But the truth is we basically have full employment in the country. We have wages that are up. We've got all sorts of things. So this is where it gets weird. And I think why we're experiencing this shift that's unlike any shift we've seen in the past. Now, I want to show you something, though, over here. This is our home sales every year since 1990. They're projecting about 4.5 million transactions. Remember, 2 sides to every transaction. But NAR is projecting about 4.5 million transactions in 2023. Where does that put us historically? Where would that put us historically?
2007.
Right around, look, not a number that you would traditionally complain about. It beats 2011. It's basically the same as 2012. It's a little bit below 2014. This is not a bad number, and yet y'all are freaking out. And here's why you're freaking out. Let me just tell you why you're freaking out. It's like when you were driving, what's an interstate by there? 65, I-65. You're going on I-65, I-70, whatever, I-74, whatever. I'm just thinking of all my Indianapolis interstates. And have you ever done this where you were driving and you look down? I know Daniel's done this. You look down and you're going like 95. Dana absolutely has done this. Has this ever happened where you're driving and you look down and you're like, oh crap, I'm going 95. Allie's smiling, so she's done this. Allie, have you done this before where you look down and you're like, OMG, I'm going 95 mile an hour, Allie?
No, never.
Okay, sure. So then you slow down. You slow down to like 75. It feels like you're going about 30. But 75 is still fast, probably speeding. But it feels like you're going 30. I feel like that's what we're experiencing right now, that we have been going so fast that now we get into a more traditional speed, which we're still not actually even at a more traditional speed. But as we move toward and transition toward a more traditional speed, it just feels like we're going so slow. But here's what I'm saying. Look at this. Let me put it back on the screen again. And I want you to think about this. And I'm going to ask you, I need 100% participation here. So warm up your fingers because you're going to type in the chat. You need 100% participation. 2022, 5 million units. 2023, about 4.5 million units. 4.5 million units translates to 9 million sides because there's 2 sides per transaction. Put in the chat, what's your goal for home sales this year? Units. I want everyone to put the number in the chat. What's your unit goal for the year? 100, 34, 24, 84, 18, 36, 20. I feel like I'm shouting out plays. Hey, 10, whatever the number is. Okay, perfect. I love it. Blowing it up in there. Does that fit inside 4.5 million? My question is, does your goal, is there enough for you, Nikki? Nikki, is there enough for you? Allison, enough for you? Laura, enough for you? Sasha, enough for you? Erica with a K, is there enough for you? The answer, of course, is what? You have to go get it. The bottom line is there's enough for you to go reach your goals. You have to go get it. Let's talk about why. Those of you who ever get on the call with me know every once in a while, I like to do something called Fancy Cam. This right here is Fancy Cam, and we're going to do Fancy Cam today, and I want to walk you through something on my Fancy Cam. Okay, so just roll with me. This is very exciting. This is high tech, very fancy.
Okay, you gotta help me I need to get this, whatever this.
It's called I don't even know what it's called. IOC how? I don't know. I got it on the Amazon.
Love it.
This is me doing my best Gary Keller. So, okay, hold on. I got to turn y'all up. Okay, so let's walk through this. I want you to think about this for a second. Does anybody remember our 2021 sales? 2021. Does anybody remember what it was? Roughly 6.2 million.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to call it 6.2 million. 2022. Does anybody remember 5 million? And what did I tell you we'll probably do this year?
4.5.
4.5 million. By the way, I have no idea. I don't know. NAR doesn't know. They're guessing. This number comes from my interview with Lawrence Young. They're guessing too. We'll find out on January 1st when they get out their abacus and do the numbers. But right now they're saying 4.5 million. Now, here's what I want you to think about. Let's say that in 2021, okay. Oh, I don't want to use that one. Let's say in 2021, you sold, right, 36 homes. Now, this is not to scale, so don't get crazy. But Shenandoah, let's pretend you did 36 homes in 2021, okay? Now, in 2022, OMG, market drops, right? What'd the market do? The market dropped 6.2 million, but you held your 36 units. Oh, happy day. 2023 rolls around and you hold your 36 units. Y'all see what I'm going there? Okay, here's my question. Is your business growing, declining, or is it flat? Put it in the chat. Is it growing? Is it declining? Or is it flat? Put it in the chat. It's growing. Yes, it's growing. It's growing. It's growing. It's growing in market share. See, here's what you've got to recognize. Now is your opportunity to gain market share. Jay Papasan told me this one time. He says, opportunity shows up in transition. Opportunity shows up in what? Transition. What are we in? Transition. If you have a shift book, page 15 has this on here. Page 15 of the shift book has the exact graph I drew, but mine's better. And it says on page 15, the past has taught us that this too shall pass, and that success comes to the resilient. This is shift page 15. Success comes to the who?
Resilient.
Thank you, Sasha. Y'all got to be quick on that space bar. Got to be quick on the space bar. Success comes to the resilient. He says, here's a tangible way to look at it. If your career goes 3 steps forward and the market drives you 4 steps back, you're below zero. You're out of the game. In other words, look, the market declines and you go from 36 units to 22 units, you're going the wrong way. It's kind of what Dana, Mark and Jason talked about in the growth call today, right? That when the market declines, we're going to find out, right, whose boats are floating, who's were sitting on rocks, who's standing out there naked, all that kind of stuff. And so as the market declines, you want to make sure you don't decline. You got to hold. He goes on to say, if it's 3 steps forward and 3 steps back, all you've done is survive. But if you take 3 steps forward and the market drives you 2 steps back, you're absorbing the hit, you're still in the game, and you're more than surviving. There's an aha in there. To me, the aha on page 15 is that Gary likes Paula Abdul. But then the other aha is you must hold your unit number in 2023. You must do everything possible to make sure you do not go backward in 2023. You cannot go backward. Cannot do it. You got to hold. Now let's talk about how we do that. Hey, Dana, I'm wondering if somebody from your team can send me the email addresses of everybody on this call.
Yeah.
Because I have 4 videos I'd like to send them, if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
I should have asked you this in advance. I'm putting you in a really bad spot, but
Oh, yeah.
or I
Yes,
can send it to
happen.
you and you can send it out to them or whatever. But I have the Dr. Yun interview that I want to send everybody, so I'll send that to you. And then I have this other one that I'm going to talk about right now, and that's this. Okay. Do you all know what your goal is for the year? You put it in the chat. Now I want you to tell me, are you ahead, on track, or behind? I already know the answer. Are you ahead, on track, or behind? Be honest and transparent. Don't be cute. Put in the chat. Are you ahead, on track, or behind? Most of you are behind. That's what, look, I'm teaching shift workshops basically every week all across the country right now. And nearly everywhere I go, they're behind. Almost everybody is behind. But I have good news for you. It is April 24th, not November 24th. And truth be told, I don't care where you are right now. I don't care if you're ahead, behind, or on track. You know why? Because it doesn't have anything to do with where you're going to finish. If you go pull the baseball standings today, the Pittsburgh Pirates are in first place. They are not going to win the division. All right, it's not going to happen. But they're in first place today. How you play the first quarter can give you a boost and help you out, but it doesn't determine whether or not you're going to win. Dana, I sat next to Lou Holtz once on an airplane. Lou Holtz was the head coach at Notre Dame for a long time, won a national championship there. And I sit down in my seat, and then Lou Holtz comes in, sits down right next to me. I was flying from Orlando to Salt Lake City. And I said, and this, I know, Dana, I know this happens to you. It's happened to me a lot with as much as we travel. Every once in a while, we'll get to sit next to or be close to somebody pretty cool. And I don't like to bother them. I like to stay pretty cool and let them be. But here I'm sitting next to a coach, and I like coaches and coaching, and a really good one who's won a national championship. And so I said, Coach, if you don't mind, I'm not going to bug you. I want you to relax and enjoy your flight. But can I just ask one question, if you don't mind? I'm from Indiana. You coached in Notre Dame. I got to ask this question. He goes, it's great. What do you got? I said, based on your experience, what's the difference between a winner and a loser? And he gave me an easy answer. How you play the second half. He said, how you play the second half determines whether or not you're a winner or a loser. And he said, there were times that we were ahead at halftime and lost, and there were times that we were behind at halftime and won. It's like it comes down to how you play the second half. Now, you want to play an effective first half to give you the boost that you need and give you the maybe if you have a lead, it gives you the points you need to be able to hold on. But either way, how you play the second half determines whether or not you win or lose. Well, if you look at your real estate calendar, what are you effectively in right now? The second half, right? The lead gen effort that you put in today and stuff like that is going to really lead to results for you in the second half of the year. So I want to walk you through this. If you said you're behind, and I see all the email addresses, you can stop because I imagine they have them, so you don't have to put them all in there. But here's the thing I want you to do. You put in your goal a second ago. I want you to now put in the chat, how many closings must you have from today through December 31st to hit your goal? So you told me what your goal was, 84, 36, 110, whatever it was. But what's the difference between where you are right now and what you need by the 31st of December? Put that in the chat. Now write that number down too, Allison. Write it down on a piece of paper, Josh. Laura, write it down on a piece of paper. I can see you, so I can tell if you're writing it down. Nikki, write down your number. How many must you have between today, April 24, and December 31 to reach the goal? Now, Dana, in a shift, our skill set and our strategy matter more than in a speed market like we've been in. In a speed market, you just turn around and sell houses. We're in a skill market now. So your strategy and your plan matter more now than they probably have for any of you in your career. Most of you were licensed 2011 or later, which means that you haven't experienced really a declining market until this past year. So your skill set, your strategy, your plan matter more than they have at any other time in your career. So we have to tell you what it is. So here's what I did. I went to Anna Kruger. She's a MAPS coach. I always want to call her Anna Kendrick for some reason. That's what pops into my mind. But I went to Anna Kruger. She's a great MAPS coach. And this is one of the other videos I'm going to send to you. And I interviewed her for about 20 minutes. And I wanted her, Anna Kruger, if anybody knows Anna Kruger, is like the queen at numbers. She knows all the conversion rates. She knows all the stuff. And I said, I need the benchmarks. What are the benchmarks that if I were an agent right now, I should be paying attention to help me know if I'm on track to reach my goals in my business? And so she gave me some benchmarks. I'm going to give you a couple of them to write down, but I'll give you the important one last. The first benchmark, Dana, is 6 people an hour. That's how many conversations we should be able to have by phone. 6 people an hour. 6 conversations an hour. That's the benchmark. So if you're having less than that, you're probably either talking too long, and I'm going to tell you exactly how long the phone call should be in a minute. You're talking too long, or you're taking too much time in between dials. You don't have a good system set up to be able to call, something like that. If you're doing fewer than that. If you're doing more than that, you're probably not having long enough conversations to get to motivation. But the target, 6 people an hour. Next, takes you 3 minutes to get to motivation. 3 minutes. Now, this is an average. This is a benchmark, right? 3 minutes to motivation. She said, if you're talking longer than 12 minutes, that means you need an appointment. So if you're watching the clock and you're getting to a 12-minute call, time to schedule an appointment. All right, so you got it, 6 people an hour, 3 minutes to motivation, 12 minutes, you need an appointment. But here was the next question I asked her, and I think the most important piece of this. And I said, well, okay, that's great. How many contacts is it to a closing? How many contacts must I make to have a closing? And she said, well, it's changed. She's like, traditionally, it would be 75 contacts to a closing. She said, but right now, it's 100. It's 100 contacts to a closing. Okay, so Julie, your goal is 17. Your gap is 17. Julie, are you here? Are you able to unmute Julie Brandt? I just randomly picked you. Julie, are you able to unmute?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Julie, your goal is 17 closings between today and December 31st. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to get out my calculator. Some of this math will be easy and some of it will be difficult, but I'm going to do yours for you. It's time for the calculator.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so 17. But how many contacts is it to a closing, Julie? I just told everybody. How many contacts to a closing?
100.
100. Yeah,
There you
Julie
go.
already forgot, but that's okay. Everybody write it down.
For me,
100.
it's different. 1.
Okay, yeah, all
Just
right. That's
joking.
cute. Very cute, Julie. 17 times 100 is 1,700. This is easy math. Even the guy that went to Ball State can do this math. So 17 times 100, 1,700. Julie, are you with me so far?
I've got it written
Okay,
down.
perfect. So that means you got to have 1,700 contacts. By the way, a contact is somebody comes into an open house and you're like, hey, and they're like, hey, and you talk about real estate. Contact. A contact is you called somebody and they're like, Julie, I never want to talk to you ever again. Leave me alone. Click. Contact.
Yep.
Somebody texts you and says, hey, I got your email about what do you, what would I sell my house for? I think it's this number. Do you think we could get it? That's a contact. Are you with me?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. You need 1,700 of any combination of those things to hit your goal. But here's the problem with this. We don't talk to somebody on December 31st and close on December 31st. Would you agree?
Correct.
We need where are you, Julie? What area are you
In Minneapolis.
You're in the Twin Cities. So how
Yeah.
long does it take contract to close? You get somebody under contract to closing. What is it, like 30 days, 45 days? What is it?
Yeah, normally. I
Normally
have
what?
some lenders that can close in 10 days right now.
Yeah,
so,
I understand there's special circumstances, but the normal is what?
Yeah, 30 to 60.
60 days. Okay, well, let's just use 60 for a worst case scenario. And then if you take a listing, what are days on market right now, Julie?
About 3.
Okay, but we're going to do a more, let's let's multiply that. Let's 10x that and say 30 for fun.
Yeah,
Okay. So let's say if you take a listing, it's 90 days before you get paid. Would that be fair?
yes,
Okay. So would you agree with me then that if we really, now we're backing up and we're like at the end of September, like we've got to have the listing live by the end of September to get paid this year.
yep,
Some of them you might get paid in October, but some you won't get paid to December. And I know you might take one on December 4th that goes under contract on December 5th and closes for the end of the year. But let's just, as a general rule, say that.
yep,
Okay. And then let's rewind 30 days and say, all right, so I got to be in, an appointment type conversation within 30 days before that. So what that would tell me, now we're back to like August 31st. So when I look at this 1700, we have really about 28 weeks to get to that 1700. Would you agree, Julie?
yes,
We got about half the year. So everyone do this. Take your gap for the year and multiply it times 100. You've all done that. And you've gotten your number. That's the easy one. But then I want you to divide it by 28. Because that's how many weeks we have, right, to get those contacts in. Julie, write this down. When I divide 1700 by 28, I get 61.
yep,
So that says, all right, if I'm Julie and I want to hit my goal of 17 more closings this year, I've got to talk to 61 people every week. Now, Julie, what do you say? About 5 work days in a week for you?
yep,
Okay, so if I take that 61, divide it by 5, I get about 12. So here's what I know, Julie. You got to hit 12 contacts a day consistently. If you do that, and I like to say a 12 a day average,
yep,
a 12 a day average. So you might do, 10 today, but you might do 14 tomorrow. Is that a 12 a day average? And so that's what I'm looking for, is a 12 a day average. If you do a 12 a day average, then here's what you have done. Listen carefully, Julie. Look in the camera, even though it's turned off, but look straight at me.
yep, I am.
I'm not keeping score. It's fine. Listen to me. Are you listening?
Yep,
If you do 12 a day, the goal is guaranteed. It's guaranteed, straight up guaranteed. This is an example of our system, our strategy, our plan matters more than before. Our system, strategy, and plan matters more than before. Your number is about 12. You hit about 12 a day, Julie, I'm telling you straight up, legit, the goal is guaranteed. Now put in the chat, yes or no. Do you want to guarantee your goal this year? Yes or no?
yes,
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you, Julie. Put in the chat, yes or no. Do you want to? Yeah. Okay. I think the answer is yes. I think I've defined a contact in here. Hold on. Somebody said Mario. Mario, are you good on what is a contact? Yes. Okay. Perfect.
Yes, Gail just
So,
said.
yeah. No, I'm just want to making sure. So you all. Here's the thing, though. Do we always do this? How many of you know you have to lead generate regularly, but still don't do it? And you all know this, but that's because you don't understand what it means to lead generate. So I want to go through a couple of things in the last 20 minutes or so we have together. And Julie, thanks for letting me call on you. You're really cool.
you're welcome, and sorry I can't have my video
I
on.
don't need it on. It's fine. I'm going to turn mine off too. Look, I'm going to turn mine off right now. We're just going to do the rest of it like this. It's no problem. All right. We're good. It's totally fine. Okay. So let me finish this up here. If you have your shift book, go to page 72 and 73. I'm going to do the abridged version of this on page 73. Page 73, Gary says, you must subscribe to one simple belief: dealing with business never takes precedence over finding business never. He says you must adopt the position that until your lead generation is done every day, nothing else should get done. This may seem like a tough position for you to adopt, but adopt it you must. Otherwise, you'll constantly find other things that seem more important or allow other things to convince you they're more important. Julie, has that ever happened to you, Julie, where you have a deal and you're working on that and you didn't lead generate that day?
Yes,
Okay, we cannot do that in this kind of market. And you might think, oh, James just being cute. I'm not being cute. Gary gets like really, really, really serious a little bit further on in the page. If you go to page 73 again and go down, he says, the number one challenge you face will be this: consistently doing lead generation activities over time. It is the one true challenge all real estate agents face and the number one stumbling block that knocks most out of the game. Now listen to this sentence. Stop talking to your neighbor. Stop texting your sister. Listen to this one sentence. Not getting lead generation done day in and day out may suffice in a hot market, but it will put you out of business in a cold one. Now listen to what he says. And if you're mad, if you don't like this offends you, email Gary@kw.com. I didn't write it. I'm reading the book. But here's what Gary says. Not getting lead gen done day in and day out may suffice in a hot market. Okay, so when I read that, it goes, okay, so the market's hot. If I don't lead generate, my business might actually be really awesome and it might suck. Either of those two things will happen, but I can be inconsistent in my lead gen and still succeed in a hot market. And how many of you would admit that you did that in 2021 and 2022 and 2020? You were inconsistent in your lead gen, but still had pretty good years. I bet that's a lot of you. But then he says, it will, is that definitive? It will put you out of business. That's definitive. He's saying it's an absolute. Dana, you've known Gary a long time. I've known Gary a long time. You worked for him. I worked for him. Gary is not a man who lives in absolutes very often. There are some things he is in absolutes about, but if you look, you and I have both been here a long time. We have seen the company evolve and change over time. If Gary was an absolutes guy, we would still be the same company we were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. He is not that kind of guy, except here he is. He's saying, absolutely, if you are not consistent in your lead gen, you will be out of business. As an 8-year team leader, all of it during the Great Recession, I saw good people get out because they weren't doing the work to stay in. They went from being a $12 million agent to a $6 million agent in 1 year. Both of those, by the way, good businesses. But if you go from 12 million to 6 million in 1 year, you're broke. So they had to get out. I don't want that to happen to you. But here's the thing. I just gave you the play. I just gave you the play. What's the play? The play is whatever number of contacts you came up with daily. That's your number one priority. Is whatever number of contacts I gave you, average that daily. Now, by the way, Julie, if we would have done this, Julie's rolling her eyes. Is he still calling on me? It's been 12 minutes. Julie, if we would have done this math exercise on January 1st, would your daily contact number be different?
Yes,
It would be what? Higher, lower, or the same?
higher.
Nope.
Oh, you mean if I did it consistently?
Yes. If we had run this math on January 1 and said, here's your daily contact goal number to hit your unit goal, your number would have been lower. Would you agree?
Yes,
Because you had more time.
right.
If we come back and redo this math on August 1st, your contact number will be what? Higher if you're not
Yeah.
hitting the average. This is where we get confused about things. Thank you. I'm done calling on you for now, Julie. I might do it again.
I have to
can't-
go show a house, but it's
Oh.
been awesome, James. I really appreciate
That's what they
you.
say. They run off. They got to go show a house. Did you not just hear me say dealing with business? No, I'm just playing, Julie. Go get it done. Go get it done. I'm proud of you. I want you to think about something real quick, and that's this: the importance of consistency. Because is the number I gave you about consistency? Yes, it is. Your daily contact number is average this daily contacts. This is about consistency. But most real estate agents live in a world of intensity. That's why their businesses go like this. They live in this world of intensity. How many of you have had this? A bunch of closings, no closings, a bunch of closings, no closings, a bunch of closings, no closings. Yes or no? Anybody had this besides me? And so you
James,
live
the
in this
real
world of
estate
intensity.
roller
What's that,
coaster.
Dana?
The real estate roller coaster.
You got it, friend. That's what we call it. By the way, then your lead gen becomes the opposite of this, right? Your lead gen is the opposite. When you have a bunch of closings, you don't do any lead gen. Then you turn around, you don't have any closings. Now you're doing all this lead gen all the time. It's intense. That is not fun. Intensity is not fun. It's not manageable for a long period of time. It leads to burnout. What I'm asking you to do is move from intensity to consistency. Your daily contact number is a consistent number. Now look, that little circle represents whatever your daily lead gen looks like today, Allison. Michelle, this little dot represents whatever your lead gen looks like right now. And I'm asking you to ramp it up and get it into a spot that it is consistent. The most important number is the daily contact number. Now, this dot, Michelle, represents where your business is today. When you get consistency in activity, you get predictability in result. And you start to see the business go up. The problem that most of you have is this place right here. This is where you're doing a lot more work than you're seeing result. Do you know I was at this, we had a dance convention over the weekend. My 11-year-old daughter dances 11 dance classes. She has 11 recital dances coming up. She's 11. Does that mean next year we have to do 12? But anyway, we were at a dance convention. I was sitting with the dads, and one of the dads talked about how he worked out every day last week and didn't lose a single pound. I mean, come on, every day for one whole week and didn't lose a pound. Is that intensity or consistency? Anybody? Intensity, Gail. Thank you, Gail. Put it in the chat. It's faster just to hit the space bar and talk out loud than it is to type the word intensity in the chat, but it's all good. That's intensity. That's not consistency. Now, if he works out 5 times a week for a year, is he going to be in better shape at the end of the year than he is today? Yes, he is. We've got to get out of this intensity mindset and get into a consistency mindset, and that's what this is. But the challenge is when you're not seeing results right now, you go, well, it's not working, it's not working. So I want you to think about it like this. Every one of these circles represents a day for you. Every one of these circles represents a single day. And you wake up and you go, oh my goodness gracious sakes alive. I was on this call with James and he told me my number was 12 contacts. All I got to do is 12 contacts. If I do 12 contacts every single day, then I'm going to be able to hit my goal in a declining market and grow my business. All I got to do is my 12 contacts a day. So Tuesday, you go do your 12 contacts. Oh, happy day. How exciting is this? This is joyful. But then tomorrow comes, Shenandoah, tomorrow comes and you've got something happens. You've got something planned already. You can't get your lead gen in all the way you want, but you know, oh my gosh, I got to do some contacts. You don't do 12 contacts, you do 6 contacts. Got it? Then the next day is a little even busier and you're like, I can't get them all 12 in, but I can do 3. You get 3 contacts in. Now, Friday, this is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, oh my goodness, you get so caught up. You got a full day. It's all blocked out. You don't even do 12 contacts. You do 17 contacts to get caught up. And then over here, you get, but this day isn't as good. And this day you do them all. But do you see this now? Let me ask you a question. Is this consistent? Is this consistent? What's the answer?
Yes.
Yes, this is consistent. And this is this message I want you to get. You've got to look at the day that you did 3 was better than doing 0, damn it. And some of you go, well, I didn't do my 12. I only did 9. I'm a loser. Baloney. What I'm looking for is over time, are we doing the activities we need to do? Now, I want you to average in what was her name? Julie's case. I want Julie to average 12 contacts a day, but I don't expect her to do 12 contacts every single day. But I do expect her to have contacts every single day. Like if we're going to hit our goal, we got to have contacts every single day. Let me tell you where this comes from. Is anybody familiar with the COVID-19? Not the virus. I live in Florida. We never even had it down here. Like it's illegal to say it down here. If you say COVID-19, DeSantis will have you arrested. So you have to be very careful. But I actually never got it at all. Knock on this fake wood I'm sitting at. I didn't get it. I didn't get the virus version of the COVID-19. But you know what I got? The LB's version of the COVID-19. I got fat in the pandemic. I got fat in the pandemic. And I got on the scale right after Christmas. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. There was a number, the first number was a number I hadn't seen in a long time. And I went, all right, this isn't going to work for me. Same day, I'm scrolling the Twitter because when you find out that you're fat, the first thing you do is go feel sorry for yourself and get on social media. And so I went and was scrolling on the Twitter and I saw a post from a guy named Cory Booker. Cory Booker is a senator from New Jersey. And Cory Booker had posted that last year he ran every single day in 2022. He ran every single day. And he said he did it because he wasn't happy with his fitness. He knew something had to change. So he made a commitment after reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. He made the commitment that he was going to run every day until his birthday. I think he was turned 50 last year. He was going to run every day till his birthday for at least 10 minutes, because you can do anything for 10 minutes. And that became running every day of last year. And I sat there and said, well, I can do that. I can run every day for 10 minutes. And so I made that commitment. January 1st, I made the commitment, and I've every day, by the way, today is like day 111 or something like that. I forget exactly. I've run every day for a minimum of 10 minutes. Now, most days I don't run 10 minutes. I think I've done 8 10-minute runs, in the 100 and some odd days that we've had. Most of them are about 3 miles. Usually I go out and do about a 5K just about every day. And here's been the result. I've lost 13 pounds. Now, I went back and looked. I've been a runner my whole life. I ran cross country in high school, and I've fallen in and out of love with this running stuff. In 2020, I ran almost 1,000 miles, because when the pandemic hit, the first part, I ran 100 miles every month for like 9 months. And I got a little injury on Christmas morning. This is how you know you're a runner, is when you run on Christmas morning. Like everyone's asleep in the house and I'm out there running. There was one other dude out that day. But the thing, I had a little calf strain, and the only way to really heal that is rest, but I didn't rest. And so it led to a series of other injuries that were really preventable had I just done what I was supposed to do. And that's what caused this increase in the weight, was me not running. So I start going back out, 13 pounds down, and I'm consistent every day. I'm going to hit my, what year is this? 2023. I will pass my 2022 total miles sometime in the next 2 weeks. Now, how did I do that? By a 10-minute a day commitment, because you can do anything for 10 minutes a day. That is consistent. If I do 3 miles today, 5 miles tomorrow, 1 mile the next day, 3 miles a day after that, 4 miles a day after that, 8 miles a day after that, 1 mile the next day, is that consistent? What's the answer? That's how you must be with lead gen in a shift. Lead gen in a shift requires consistency. It means you've got to have a commitment daily. I don't care what your number is. You came up with the number based on your goal, but you've got to do it daily. Now, we're out of time, and there's so much more I want to cover. So, Dana, I'm going to send 2 more videos that I want them to watch, because we didn't get to seller pricing, and I feel like seller pricing is wonky right now. So I interviewed an agent from California. Her name's Chrissy Miller. She's from Modesto, California, on how she's doing her CMA. And I think it's really smart. I'm going to send it to you. There's a mistake in the entire video. The whole time I kept talking about how she was looking in pricing in like 90-day windows, but it's actually 60-day windows. So when you watch the video, just every time I say 90 days, it's actually 60. I said it so much, I convinced her that it was 90 days. You'll see at the end of the video. So that's the 3rd video I'm going to send. The 4th video I'm going to send is Brittany, who is a buyer agent on Jenny Wallach's team in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Brittany's talking about all the questions that she's asking buyers right now. Because I think you have buyer urgency issues in this market too. Buyers not understanding the market, not understanding interest rates, not understanding home prices. So Dana, just have somebody send me the list of everybody who was on, and I can get it out to them.
Yep.
And if that's not possible, I can just send it to you and you can do whatever you want with it.
We'll do both, because I'll
okay,
have
perfect.
people
We'll do
ask
that.
me for it for weeks to come.
Awesome. And then the other thing too is I'm going to put in there, I have a private mastermind community I do. In addition to the free call I do every day, I have a private mastermind community. We meet on Tuesdays. I'll put the details on that in there if someone's interested in that. Okay, was this of value to you? Yes or no? I'd love to hear a couple of ahas and takeaways. And I'm sorry we didn't get everything in, but I'll send you those videos. Raise your digital hand. Tell me, what'd you write down? What'd you take away? What was of value to you? Somebody tell me. Somebody said best call they've ever been on. That's so nice. Sasha, what you got?
James, I got like 5 of those and text messages. Best call I've been
Oh,
on.
that's so cool to
Thank
hear.
you.
I love that.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
time. Yes. Okay.
You're welcome.
couple
By the
ahas.
way, if you're close enough to Chicago, I'm doing the full day shift workshop in Chicago on May 17th. So I put the link in on where you can enroll in that. The Mid-American region's bringing me in. So if you want a full day of this, I just put the link in the chat for that. Sasha, what's your aha?
The gap is definitely attainable once it's broken down into that formula.
I don't think, for most of you, I don't think that is an unrealistic number. even if you're behind goal, I don't think your daily contact number is unrealistic. It might be for some of you. You might be looking at it and you've got to do 42 contacts a day and you're only doing 2 right now. Then yeah, you have to have a conversation with yourself about what's going to allow you to get to the 42, who can help you make contacts, or do you need to change the goal? But I think for most of you, your number is right on target, Sasha. You're exactly right. Anybody else?
Hey, James, could you go over the math on how you got to that 28, the 28 weeks?
Well, I just figure if you think about it like this, Josh, today's April 24th. I think you have about 6 months left to have, a listing on the market or a buyer out actively looking for it to still close this year. If we were having this conversation in January, we'd have done it off like a 40-week number. If we had this conversation in October, we'd do a 52 weeks because we'd be preparing for the following year. Are you with me? So, if we don't go back, you don't do anything, and we go look at this again in a month, now we're talking 20 to 24 weeks you have to hit that contact number, which is why your contact number starts to go up if you don't tackle it now. Make sense, Josh?
Yes, sir. Thanks, man.
Awesome. You got it. I'm going to put my cell phone number in the chat. If I can help anybody, you can text me. That's my cell phone number, 813-523-UGLY. It spells ugly. That's my Instagram, James D. Shaw. My email address, which is a horrible way to reach me, as Dana will tell you, is james.shaw@kw.com.
You might as well give
if
them
I can
maybe.
help you with something, give me a holler. Dana, thanks for letting me talk with your group.
Hey, you were amazing. Thanks, James, so much. And I really am I'll work with Nadine still to find time in your schedule to get you in person. We really want to get you somewhere collectively between my 3. And I'm hopeful we can still make that happen this year.
We love it. Be great.
Yeah, you're the best. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks, Dana.
and
Appreciate
all
everybody. Have a good
value.
one. Bye.
Thanks,
Dana.
guys, for being on. Thank you. Have
Thanks,
a great
Dana.
rest of your week. Thanks, guys. We'll send you everything. So either we have your email or you registered, but have a great rest of your week. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.